So today I'm talking about Zarya, who currently for me is the character that I've honestly probably climbed the most with this season, and probably been my favorite character to play this season as well. Now, when I first got into this new season, I really wanted to play Brigitta, and while I've been playing her, I have been getting a decent amount of results, but almost every single game I'm playing Brigitta, they're playing Brigitta, and it's kind of hard to really show off that much skill as that character. It's very hard to be mechanically skill expressive, and I've been kind of getting bored of her a little bit. But with Zarya, I've kind of found a haven. She's been a character that you can pick up right now, that you won't see every single game, but that is extremely strong and can honestly, by herself, win a lot of games just from her pure damage, her ultimate, all the great parts about her kit. And yes, she does, of course, require a little bit of teamwork with the bubbles and everything, but in general, I think she's a lot less team heavy than someone like Brigitta, who honestly, in most cases, can't get that much kills and can't do way too much plays by herself. Overall, Zarya does have a lot of stuff going for her in this new season, and I guess I'll get to some of those main reasons why she's good, and why you should also probably pick her up if you're a person that likes playing tank. Now, with that said, let's just get going right here. So I guess the first topic I want to go over is why she's so good right now. And I think, the main reason is that we do have a very brawl-heavy gameplay right now. Most people are pretty close up, whacking each other in the front line. You have a lot of triple support. You have a lot of, double tank. You have a lot of people like Reinhardt, Zarya, other frontliner tank type of players. And in general, you can get a lot of charge very easily with her right now, and you can block a ton of damage, which is going to be pretty consistent damage because it is pretty close range. Overall, I think that's, a decent reason why she's good. But I think another reason why she's really good right now is that she's also amazing against projectile heroes, which are the strongest DPS in the game right now. If you look at any of the hit scan, they are all essentially in the top 10 worst characters in the game, but all the projectile heroes that are DPS, like Hanzo, Junkrat, Pharah, all of those are amazing. And that's really good for Zarya because they can't really control their damage as much as a hit scan player. And a lot of the times they'll have to, throw around a lot of damage, get a decent amount of spam out there, and you as Zarya can suck up that spam and turn it into your own damage to essentially use the opponent's damage against them, which didn't really happen that much in the past. In a lot of seasons up to now, we didn't really see much Zarya because I think people could control their damage a lot, but now that we have this, it does allow for Zarya to do a lot. And I think in general, the thing you have to kind of keep in mind is that with a lot of hit scan, you're going to have quite low damage as Zarya, but with a lot of projectile heroes, as long as you can, time your shields right and everything, you're going to be getting some of the highest tank damage in the entire game. And if you can get around 70 to 80% charge for the majority of the game, if you just keep brawling over and over again, you can honestly have probably the highest damage in the entire game right now, other than Hanzo having his E as far as consistent damage goes, which, yeah, that is a extremely important part of her kit right now. And why I think you can carry so hard with her, simply put, because of her damage, and I guess also because the ability to stop people from your team getting picked, which you can also do with those bubbles against a lot of these projectile characters. Now, another thing I should say right here that makes her really good is that Zarya is great against Brigitta. And honestly, her ultimate just hard counters Brigitta. There is literally nothing she can do about it. And for the most part, Brigitta wants to stand right next to her teammates, rally them all together, and you as Zarya then have the perfect opportunity to press your ultimate. And that's honestly amazing. You press that ult, you win that team fight, and if they don't have Zen, they are automatically screwed. And if you have Zarya and the opponents don't, if you keep getting a ton of quick fights with a lot of damage out, and you keep getting your ultimate almost every single fight or every other fight, well, you could see how that could work very well for you as a Zarya player, and how you could start to carry a lot of games just from ultimates alone. In general, it's a good thing to remember that Zarya does kind of counter Brigitta. Even, her shield bash, you can block that with your E and with your shift, which is great. Your ultimate's really great against her. You have a lot of damage at farther range than she can get to, so that's also amazing. But as well, I should mention here that Zarya works well with one, because a lot of the times, your Brigitta has to walk pretty far up in the front line or kind of close to it, get some risky shield bashes. And if you see your own one getting shield bashed in response by the enemy Brigitta with her own, shield bash, well, you can put a shield on that person, and there you go. You're probably going to be getting some charge. You're going to save her life. You can also just spam shields on your Reinhardt if you need to. You can also spam shields on your snipers if they keep getting in sniper battles to help them win those. Overall, in a really good position right now from the Brigitta meta. And something I should say right here is that right now we also have the Hanzo ultimate, which is probably the most played DPS in the game and the highest win rate DPS in the game, at least for now, before his nerfs come in, which might not even fix that. But the Zarya Hanzo ultimate is such an easy ultimate to pull off. Probably the easiest combo in the entire game, I'm going to say, to get a full team wipe. All you do as Zarya is tell your Hanzo, hey, I'm going to ult pretty soon. You press the ult button, and even if the Hanzo isn't very good at timing his ult, he has a decent amount of time to wait, go for his ult, and then if you combo it at all, essentially, you can instantly win any team fight. That is, unless the enemy team has a Zen, which, you know, can sometimes cancel that out. One thing I'm going to say here, though, is that a lot of the times you can actually damage through the Zen ult if you have a Hanzo spamming arrows at one target through the ult, and if as well you are consistently shooting one person with like 80 or 90 charge Azaria through the ult, or I guess the ult combo, you can get a lot of kills with that anyways. So yeah, overall it's just a ridiculous combo that is very hard to counter, and a lot of times people don't want to play triple support with Zen, Brigitta, and Mercy, so they're only going to either go Brigitta and Mercy and not have anything to beat you as Zarya, or on the other hand, they're going to go Zen and Brigitta, and then they won't have any main heals, and that'll suck for them. Overall, it's a pretty good situation you put yourself in as this character, and I think that's a great part about her. And another great part about her I'm going to mention right here is that, yeah, you do essentially require Zarya to be on the enemy team almost every game, you know, as long as you have a lot of spam damage or a Hanzo ult. But as well, you as Azaria don't have to worry way too much about team comp and about your own team's team comp. I've had a decent amount of times where I've been able to win just as solo tank Zarya with Brigitta. It's not the best situation, but it still is somewhat doable. Of course, it's better if you have, you know, a Reinhardt, if you have a Winston, if you have a Orisa, any of those characters, but it's still all right, even with just one tank, which is nice. It's a nice thing that you have that possibility. A lot of the times I am also getting, you know, two off tanks playing together, which again isn't the best situation, and of course you do want a Reinhardt if you can, because you synergize so well with him, but even with the other tanks, you can honestly do well enough. You know, if you are losing really hard, you probably should switch to Reinhardt or to Orisa or to one of the main tanks, but I think in a lot of my games, you don't have to worry too much about team comp, especially when you are, of course, getting out a ton of damage, when you are getting a lot of kills, when you are getting those key clutch shields. On defense, it's a bit hard to argue that, but especially on offense, I think it's all right. And especially in solo queue, where people aren't way too coordinated and where a lot of times the shield isn't that useful anyways because people don't use it, I think Zarya can kind of shine right there. Now, something I should mention right now is that, of course, as I've been talking about, the game is a lot more frontline based, which is pretty obvious. You know, all the characters I've just been mentioning, Brigitta, all that meta, all that stuff. But a thing that is great about that is that you don't really have to worry about flankers that much right now as Zarya, which is amazing, because flankers almost never give you any charge on your shields. Flankers waste a lot of your time as Zarya. You can't really kill flankers as Zarya, and you have to waste a lot of shield time on your backline to hopefully stop your backline from dying to the flankers. Overall, it's not that great to play Zarya versus flankers, but right now, you don't see them that much at all. And even the flanker that you do see, that being Genji, is somewhat counterable by Zarya. You can do a decent amount against him, and yeah, it's overall a good time because he's not that great as well. None of the flankers are that great, and yeah, Zarya can kill them, but has always had a trouble just finishing them off because she, you know, in general, has no burst. Now, another thing I'm going to say right here that does, of course, talk about the meta is that there is a ton of healing going on right now. And, you know, that's pretty good for tanks always. You know, tank metas always revolve around a lot of good healing. But what's so good about Zarya is that a lot of the times in more squishy metas, it's kind of hard to stay alive because you don't have that much health, and if somebody baits your shield, you're kind of just going to die. But with so much health going around, you can oftentimes stay alive a lot longer than you used to be able to. And why that's so good is that it allows you for a lot of time to get out your barriers, and allows you for a lot of time to get out charge, and then that allows you to get a lot of time to deal consistent damage on the enemy tanks, on the enemy, you know, frontline, Brigitta, whatever. And even if you aren't getting any kills, you're charging up a ton of ultimate. And that's where I'm going right now. Zarya has probably the best ability to charge ultimate right now than, you know, ever before. Because even against, you know, tank meta, it was pretty good, but there were a lot of shield tanks. Right now, there aren't way too many shield tanks, so you can, in a lot of cases, get a lot of damage out. And, you know, even against the shield tanks like, you know, Reinhardt, he has to play pretty carefully because you have Brigitte to shield bash him. And overall, yeah, it's been working out great as far as the character goes, and you can get a ton of ult charge. And I guess the final thing I want to mention right here about playing her is that overall, she is a very consistent character that can do a ton. That is a tank, so you can pick her up almost every single game. That can play triple tank, that can play, you know, single tank, double tank, whatever. But I think the best part about her right now is that she's just a god tier duo queue partner. If you can get a bad guy on your team, if you can get a Rein duoed with you, if you can get a Hanzo or a Pharah, any of those characters, you're going to do amazing. You're going to synergize with them so well. And if you can, you know, time just about anything correctly, you can almost automatically win versus people that aren't playing Zarya plus any of those characters. Especially if you have something like a Hanzo or a Rein. that's just pristine. And honestly, if you can find one of those people, I definitely recommend it. Overall, I think that Zarya is probably a somewhat difficult character to play because, you know, you do have to learn how to aim pretty well, you do have to time your bubbles pretty well, you do have to make sure that you aren't wasting all your ultimates, but I don't think she's the hardest character to play, and honestly, while she is, I'm going to say right here, awkward to learn, once you get past that learning curve, then she starts to feel pretty easy, then she starts to feel pretty fun, and if you want to try out a tank character right now, that kind of acts like D.Va did last season, you know, a tank that can do a lot of damage and that can finish people off, Zarya probably is a good choice for you, and if you just want to, you know, play something other than Brigitta because she hasn't been working out for you way too well, maybe Zarya is a good choice. But anyways, as always, guys, that had just been my own opinion. I'm really excited about this, as you can tell, because I main Zarya from season 1 to 3 about, and I love playing this character. Ever since then, she's kind of been completely terrible and almost unplayable, but here she is back again. This season, I honestly thought I was going to come in maining Brigitta, but I've been maining Zarya so far, so there you go. That's kind of some exciting news. As always, guys, though, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Tell me down below if you've been playing Zarya, if you've been playing against Zarya, or if you enjoy or don't enjoy playing with and against Zarya. And as always, guys, thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful day.